Well. I, when you think that I would be done with ranting about hand traps in this damn stupid game, huh? Guess not. Because every time someone big or maybe not like really popular, but just someone is maybe like not like a big YouTuber, but maybe just someone that's just that's known or that's popular amongst the community, and I had to endure the stupid arguments of someone of a YouTuber trying to make the argument that hand traps are not the problem in the game. While I can agree that hand traps are not the main problem of the game, the main problem being the lack of affordability of half of the popular, just really good cards like Ash Blossoms and evenly matched, and back in the day raw spear modes for this freaking game were a thing, and you just flat out weren't able to afford them. And you just flat out are not able to afford these cards. And even back in the days before Phase 2 switches, it's been an issue with this game since day one, the lack of affordability for cards. And let's face it, that issue's never changing. We can admit that's the main issue. Hand traps are just a part of the big picture. Another thing, Simo failed to bring up his argument. But let's hear his argument. His main argument is that he's basically saying that without hand traps, we would have a harder time going second. Here's the thing. The best deck in the game right now being Spiral, and the honorable mention of number 2 being Pendulum Magicians can both very well easily play under hand traps if built properly. If they're built properly, again, they can function very well under hand traps. It's just that simple. I've seen it done so many times. Trickstars can also function under hand traps, which is why they can get away with main decking Draw and Lockbird and all these other damn cards, because the resource pool of their deck, of what that deck needs to be able to go off, is so fucking low. It's fucking simple. Just like pure zoo format, where you only need one card in order to go off. You just need that one Rapier, or that one Barrage, or that one Tenki, or that one Zoo Monster just to go off. It's just like that. And when you have decks that can abuse these hand traps, I only need one card to go off. Hand traps, the only thing they do with the best decks in the game is slow them down and not actually stop them from making their turn 1 boards. The only exception to this fallacy is Max C, which is a card that literally stops them in their tracks. Unless they can special summon so much that they actually deck you out, or they know that their turn 1 board is going to be too strong even for Max C's 39 card draws to be able to fulfill for you. For you, the Max C player. Maxie's the only exception to this fallacy. And the thing is, the hand traps like Ash are literally designed to ruin budget decks. Hand traps like Ash are like, okay, for when you're using Ash against like Spirals, Pendulum Magicians, True Draco Invoked, this type of card is meant to slow them down. The only two exceptions, the other exception is Draw and Lockbird, which is meant to stop them from searching for a turn. But again, you can also use the argument that this only slows them down for a turn, and because chances are your deck is not fast enough to OTK because of how the link format is now designed. And chances are you cannot afford a deck that can spam out a whole bunch of monsters under the link format. And unless if you're playing shit like Stargrail, or you're playing Spiral OTK, or you're playing some weird shit like Battery Man OTK, or Despots, which I doubt without machine duplication can even produce an OTK as consistent anymore under the current rules. And Draw and Lockbird will lock him down for one turn. I'll give Draw and Lockbird that. And keep in mind, that card's also majorly expensive as well. If you guys remember, when I featured Draw and Lockbird in my Statellar deck profiles, the only reason that I got Draw and Lockbirds, at least a playset of them, of the rare versions, is because I brought them back when they were $3 or $4 a pop. And I bought the playset set for $12. and anywhere from like 9 to 12, something like that. Definitely less than $15 for the whole playset. Now the whole playset is worth anywhere from $70 to $90 today, even though it's used, because everyone's desperately trying to grab their hands on these hand traps. If I were to post them used online for 15 a piece, people would jump on them right now because people want hand traps in order to be able to combat decks like Spiral, right? But here's the thing. Again, these hand traps only slow those decks down. So I've seen Spiral still successfully play under a Lockbird or an Ash. Again, the only hand trap exception to this fallacy is the Maxi. He is the one and only Maxi. The God card. The actual God card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is referred to as Maxi today, but, you know, here's the thing with Maxi, it's just an all-in when you see him in your hands, which is why everyone says that he's a staple to play in your deck somewhere. Whether it's in the main or the side, whatever you need, you have to figure it out. So yeah, his main argument is that without hand traps, you will have a horrible time going second. But the hand traps are ruining the budget player's chances. These top tier decks can function with under hand traps anyway. Your chances do not get any better with a deck like Spiral Link Summon Infernity 2.0 spam. That makes Pepe look like an absolute fucking joke now. Can still function under these annoying ass hand traps. And keep in mind, Pepe was in an era where the only hand trap that was technically even ran was Maxi. Ogre wasn't even that popular at this time. Effect Veiler was occasionally teched into maybe the side deck or something, but Maxi is perhaps the only hand trap that was made or side decked at this time, because hand traps were not very popular because Pepe was a combo centric deck. That's why I feel Pepe is better. Well, let me say, it generally is better as a deck, but I feel I'd rather do a Pepe format than Tier 0 Pepe format than with this format, because in that format, they weren't able to run as many hand traps because that was a very combo-eccentric OTK based deck. You just pulled off your combo, summoned your Infinity, Rafflesia, Hope Harbinger, Felgrand, whatever you need, Ignister. You just throw your whole board out there. If you're going first, you're gonna put 10 plus negations on the board with strikes for Rafflesia, Infinity, and Naturia Beast, along with Hope Harbinger or Felgrand, whichever you ran, and you take it off from there. But with Spirals, they can do all that with hand traps in the main deck, which means they can play going first or going second, because at least with pendulums, they didn't have 1-2 card whammies like Zodiac and now the modern day Spiral does. At least with Zodiac, they didn't put insane turn 1 boards, with the exception of the fusion substitute combo. Once that combo went bye-bye, they did the best that they could end up was a Dryden plus background. Nothing else really too great with like 2 whip tails in hand or some shit like that, if they got lucky enough to get 2 whip tails. But anyways, now Zeus gone, I'm happy because I get to run Earth Statue again. And my Barrier Statue, as you saw in my deck profile, if you saw that video recently, you should check that out. It's pretty spicy. But anyways, yeah. You were telling me that the poor people have to suffer just because you want to be able to have hand traps so other rich players could be able to have a chance against other rich players going second, right? That's what you're telling me. Horrible logic. And this is why the Yugi tubers are getting more dumber by the second. Again, the number of Yugi tubers I arguably even respect, nor alone even take my time in the day to listen to, has decreased so much. While I was on my little break from posting videos, I still watch Yugi tubers. I just stopped watching a whole lot of them. Like Gage X Scapegoat, I still watch Fluffle Stuff and Incorporated. I still watch Team Kings of Games. I still watched. Yugi No No, I still continued to watch in this period of time that I was taking off. I still watch YouTubers in this period of time, but the number decreased so much, and I can officially say that after Cimo made this hand trap is not the problem video just to please the rich people in the community even further, I said that's when I stopped liking him, and I can say that he's officially on my shit list just like Team Samurai X1. Because that video was just horrible. And I mean, I've seen Simo make horrible videos before. Remember A Pointer of the Red Lotus, and then him overhyping a die roll tech card. I mean, he's done some pretty horrendous videos that have had their ups and downs throughout the year, but I was able to overlook those. However, this one I can't overlook when he's arguing with literal common sense. And sure, you can go make a top 5 budget list of $100 or $100 or less decks. You can make a list like that, but again, what is this gonna do for the community? Because deep down inside, all of these decks on the list, the only thing they can do is improve your win ratio of approximately 10% if generous. Overall, on average, it will give you anywhere from a 7.5 to 8.9% win ratio improvement, and that's the best that you can honestly hope for. Like I said, 10 or 11% being generous. Therefore, these decks are not going to be granting you multiple tops or any wins at any events whatsoever. They're just going to improve your win ratio by a little bit, probably giving you a game or two extra in your ratio of wins to losses, and that's not going to be much. Therefore, chances are, unless if you can produce something yourself with these budget decks that deep down inside you can top win and win with, chances are half these budget decks that you see your favorite YouTubers putting on these lists are just random piles of garbage produced just to keep the people happy and just to keep the people thinking that budget players actually have a chance in the modern game, because I say after we left Monarch format, budget players haven't had a chance since. And that's the sad and simple truth. Because sure, there are a lot of budget decks right now. There are actually more budget decks now than ever. But do you want me to tell you why they're all pointless to invest in? Because you got Spiral up here. When you're in a tier 0 format, that changes the dynamic of everything. So I just want to address all these illogical fallacies that Cimo is basically throwing his entire channel upon, because he believes that hand traps are not the problem, and what's sad is that he actually believes that half these decks that he's putting on his list are actually going to be able to make a difference to the game and give people a fair, equal chance. Therefore, but deep down inside, he should probably even already realizes himself that half these decks are not going to even come close to doing anything. It's just not going to happen. And I mean, you would evenly matched Ash Blossom, and then people, oh, it's budgets, just go have fun. The whole point of the game is for everyone to have an equal chance to win, which is why I changed over to chess, a game that requires actual mental intelligence, unlike Yu-Gi-Oh! The closest thing that came to intelligence in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the deck building process, where you would go and do the digging in order to produce your own tech cards for your deck list altogether. That's the closest thing that Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever gets to skill. Tournaments do not take skill to huge tournaments do take skill to win. But if you really break down the concept of Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself, all you need to know is learn the rules, learn how certain decks work. Remember the story that I told you of the guy at my locals that was able to learn Pure Zoo overnight and go to a tournament and get top 4. And go to a regional tournament and get top 4 the following day. He just learned Zoo overnight. This backs up my theory and my logic on certain decks not requiring much interaction at all, compared to a skill required deck like Infinities, even back in their day, required a certain of understanding. Zoo just requires no understanding at all in order to perform its combos. It's literally just repetition after repetition after repetition after repetition. And that's all Zoo was. Thank God the cancer is gone. But unfortunately, Spiral basically took over. And I say for that short period of time, I say like the October, like the end of September, majority of October time period. That time period was so good because we had no tier 0 deck. It was all equal. True Draco, Pendulum Magicians, Trickstars, even Inferno had started to creep back in at this point because the game was balanced. Zoo was bye-bye. Only downfall with that is that Ash will literally rise up to become a staple in the very near future. But we got something out of it for a short period of time until Spiral got double Helix, and then that's when the bullshit actually begins. Because that's when Yu-Gi-Oh! Goes from being fair to being the literal definition of unfair. And I say Yu-Gi-Oh!'s been unfair ever since the end of October, where Double Helix came to us. Ever since Double Helix came to us, it's been unfair and ridiculous ever since then. And a lot of people say Monarchs actually have a chance. I'm sorry, they don't. Monarchs don't have it. Like, a lot of my friends see me play Monarchs and they're like, wow, the deck's really good. Deep down inside, Monarchs are shit. They are. Like, really, the Monarchs really are actual little garbage. One Ash Blossom, or a well-timed Ash Blossom, or a well-timed Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre by herself can put this deck in shambles. Just popping away the Erebus, or the Aether, the Karaz, or the Domain that's trying to activate their effects. Which is why Majesty's Fiend's a fucking staple in the main deck now these days, because if you don't have that fucking shit, chances are you're gonna get trampled on all the way. With Ash Blossoms and Ghost Ogres. Here's all the way. And then the random Maxi will come out for when you special summon Eidos. And then you fucking tribute, and then your opponent gets to draw one card because they know deep down inside against your deck the Maxi is dead. So they'll just wait till the Maxi is used, and then they'll use Ash on like Erebus or some shit like that instead, because they want to be able to get a free. They want to be able to replace that card off of the Maxi. They want to be able to replace Maxi with something. And dipping in a little more into their deck is well worth rather than keeping a worthless level 2 insect in their hand. That won't do anything against a majorly tribute summon based deck. But yeah, this is how I feel about Cimooooooos' arguments. Like, again, the hand traps are definitely a part of the problem. Maybe not the entire problem. I can see that argument, but they're definitely a nice 15-25% of the entire problem of the game right now. Spiral needs to go bye-bye. Along with these hand traps. But they're not going to hit Ash. They're going to leave these cards floating around. And they're going to leave rogue decks rendered to garbage. Ash needs to get hit to 1 or be banned. The card is simply too fucking good to be allowed at 3. And even though Yang Zane has been showcased to actually have some decent combos by Yu-Gi-Oh! Tube, if you remember, like back towards October 29th, around that time period, where, the fucking Crystron Link Monster got announced, Yang Zane showcased with some combos. Those combos are meaningless because all they need to do is hit Jiaotu with a Nash and it's literally not even turn over, game over. Because you lost. You're not going to be able to get your resources back. Funny enough that one of the Yang Zane Synchros can actually search Ash Blossom from the deck, so if Ash gets hit to 1, Yang Zane's actually may become one of the best decks, since there will be only one of the only decks that can actually use her consistently. And I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to use Ash Blossom consistently? I'm pretty sure 3 stacks will take advantage of that. As a couple of other people may want to take advantage of that if she were to be hit to 1 day. I just want her to be flat out banned along with Maxi. But when I think about it, Maxi may stay at 1, but he should get banned too. Maxi and Ash need to go in order for this game state to be reinstated as fair. Because right now, the way it's going, it's not fair. You want to know why it's not fair? Because you have a whole bunch of hand traps that people flat out can't afford. And I consider evenly matched a hand trap because you play that shit off your hand. It's not even an actual trap card anymore. If they're gonna make all the good generic trap cards like this, then this is gonna be ridiculous. This is gonna be a long, miserable 3 years. Here's of Reign's format. And if it's gonna keep being like this, I could see myself dropping again towards the future. Who knows? Maybe for another 2 months. I may drop dead and no one knows what happened to me. Yeah, and then I'll come back 2-3 months later, you know? I'll be happy to keep doing this because this seems like the best way to relieve my stress of the game, just flat out dropping it. But anyways, I think I went on long enough about the issues that the game's currently having and why Cimooooooos is not a good YouTuber to me anymore. So, have a good night, guys. Peace out.